F1's European Grand Prix has a nice ring to it, but the top two drivers in the championship face roadblocks at Nürburgring.
IndyCar teams look to get the handle on the circuit's shortest track before rain moves into Richmond.
Youth and experience. This Champ Car team has both as it sets its sights on the next goal.
We have USAC Silver Crown, the Outlaws King defending his crown, and a feel-good story in the ASA.
Sports cars, too, right now on Speed News. Welcome to Speed News Sunday. I'm Dave Despain. Hey, it was a dream lineup in Formula One this morning. The two championship rivals side by side on the front row.
With a couple of hard chargers on the row behind, and that is big pressure on young shoulders. The two title rivals Dave mentioned are Kimi Räikkönen, the 23-year-old Finn from McLaren, sitting on his first career pole next to five-time world champion Michael Schumacher. Behind them, the Williams BMW boys, Ralf Schumacher and Juan Pablo Montoya. When the lights went out, the fun began. Champion Michael was worried about leading that left-hand line of cars at the start, with good reason, as Kimi and Ralph got great grip and demoted Michael to third on the run to turn one. Despite appearances, everyone made it through, and the race was on. Räikkönen opened a big early lead, but never made it to his second pit stop as the engine let go on lap 26, giving the lead to Ralph. The thoroughly unhappy Kimi takes a hit in the championship and gave one to a corner worker. The points damage would be somewhat minimized on lap 42 when Montoya got a run on the Ferrari into the left-hander at Dunlap curve. They touched and Michael spun off. Take another look. Montoya appears to give Schumacher room, but Michael slid up off the corner and into the Williams. Game over for Michael? Nope. Schumacher asked for help to get pushed back into the race, a legal move since the car did not stall. Schumacher re-enters the track back in 6th place. One of the best battles of the day involved Fernando Alonso and David Coulthard. That is, until Coulthard had to get around Alonso, go spinning off into the Tuolis. This one is worth a second look. Watch how much air the McLaren gets. DC started 9th, crashed out in 5th. No Mercedes left in this, their home race. There were some BMWs, however, and they finished 1-2. Ralf Schumacher takes his 5th career win and his first since Malaysia, with teammate Juan Pablo Montoya second. Like a champion, Michael never stopped charging right to the final corner, where he tried to take 4th away from Alonso, but he had to settle for 5th. The Schumacher atop the podium, but it's not Michael, as Ralph and Juan Pablo complete the second 1-2 sweep of the year for Williams, with Rubens Barrichello third. Here are all the points finishers. Alonso said afterward that his brakes were giving him trouble, which explains the Coulthard and Schumacher episodes. Native German Nick Heidfeld started from the pit lane and finished 8th. Peter Windsor put his microphone to work afterward.
A momentous and sudden change of fortune in the Grand Prix of Europe, with McLaren Mercedes appearing to have the race in the bag, and then bang, it was a BMW Williams 1-2 finish.
Certainly after the two pole positions, not really been able to make a win out of those. It's really satisfying today here to be out of the second row. Might have been a bit lucky with Räikkönen, I don't know, I think I was catching him up on after the first pit stop. We might have done it anyway, but so it was easier.
Juan Pablo Montoya finished 2nd for BMW Williams, but it was the incident with Michael Schumacher that everybody was talking about. Can you pass on the outside in that corner there?
I guess you can, you know, it's...
Well, you did then.
Yeah, it's, you know, I was surprised Michael spun when he came into me. You know, I went around, I had middle of the track, went around it, and I had brand new tires, I had a lot of grip. And, you know, I was pretty comfortable with the car.
So if you were Michael now, you would say it was not Juan Pablo's fault at all?
Well, I would, you know, if you really look at it, I would say it would be a racing incident, and I think it's used that way.
He gave me a little bit of air to breathe. It was very little, but just enough to survive. And but then I ran out of track, and we just got together a little bit. I wouldn't have done anything different on the other side, and that sometimes happens. I would have been a little bit more happy if he left me a little bit more space, but that's not his job to make me happy.
And did I mention that Ralph's win at Malaysia was last year? In the points chase, Michael's lead over Raikkonen is up to 7, with Ralph moving into a solid third. Alonso and Montoya tied for 4th, Barrichello in 6th, and a pair of former Champ Car champions Jacques Villeneuve and Cristiano D'Amato also tied for 13th. In the constructor standings, Williams extends its deal with BMW through 2009 and then celebrates. Their Team 1-2 smokes McLaren's pair of DNFs, take over 2nd place behind Ferrari.
The latest Formula One news is brought to you by BMW.
And now to the Indy Racing League, which prides itself on intense lead battles and close finishes. The IRL has a problem, and his name is Scott Dixon. Last night at Richmond International Raceway, the Team Target star became the first driver in league history to score a flag-to-flag victory. From pole, Dixon led 206 laps last night, plus the final 83 the previous week, 289 straight, also a league record. Outside pole sitter Sarah Fisher going backward in a hurry with handling problems. Now watch Peter Mira walling on board. That's his first DNF of the season for the young Brazilian driving for Team Menard. The defending race and series champ Sam Hornish got all tangled up with Felipe Giafoni exiting the pits and fell deep into the field. And then on a restart, Tomas Scheckter gets turned around and then tapped by Al Unser Jr., damaging Schechter's front wing. That's usually an easy fix. This one dragged on, and he went a lap down. Another restart, and Gilles de Ferran takes an unsuccessful shot at Dixon. That's as close as anybody got to the winner last night. We had an awkward moment here, interrupting an impressive charge back toward the front by Chevy-powered Hornish. Just past the scheduled halfway point, teenage A.J. Foyt IV rode off another of Grandpa's race cars, and shortly thereafter, a bit of weirdness. Left side of your screen, the inside track lights are all off. Long caution. Point leader Tony Kanaan had this view of Hornish as Sam went by to take a season's best 4th place finish, and that was that. Rain at lap 206 of a scheduled 250. Well, you know what? I think they could have run all night and the same guy would have stayed out front. Dixon wins over Penske teammates Helio Castroneves and de Ferran. Scott now has 3 victories this year, including 2 in a row, and nobody else has more than 1. Now, there were a lot of passes, just not for the lead. Castroneves and de Ferran came from 10th and 6th, respectively. Kanaan held on to the point lead with 5th. Technically, Dixon is a league rookie. 8th place Weldon is the best real rookie last night, and Pat Patterson talked with the heroes.
Well, the celebration's inside instead of outside. 2 in a row. Congratulations. Super run.
Yeah, thank you very much. I owe a lot to the Team Target and Toyota. We had great fuel mileage out there, and I think that's what helped us on our stops. But we just had a great, clean day. You know, racing here at Richmond under the lights is a lot of fun, and you know, the traffic and everything. It's just, I don't know, I'm just real happy.
Scott, every time you guys went on the racetrack, you were the fastest car, and you were the dominant car tonight. Any particular reason you adapted so well to this place?
I don't know. We had a great test here, but I think, you know, I owe a lot to the engineering side. You know, they've given me a great car every circuit I've gone to. So, you know, we're just trying to basically, you know, keep a good, consistent run, make sure the car's fast, and we've had a fast car everywhere. So, you know, I owe a lot to them.
While Scott Dixon was the man to beat, try as they might, everybody behind couldn't catch him.
He was very strong, especially towards the end of the run, and it's just a shame because traffic is a big factor here, but for sure they did a good job. Hey, we're coming back. We had a terrible result in Pikes Peak. Now we're coming back, so wait for the next one.
And we had a good start, and I was on top of Dixon there, right on the first stint, you know, trying to get on with them. I thought I might get a little opportunity in traffic, but it wasn't to be. And then later on in the race, he was a little bit stronger, and we were just driving flat out, you know, throughout the race, especially at the end there, really qualifying pace, pushing very, very, very hard.
I can't blame on anybody into myself. I'm driving it, and I don't think I chose the right setup, and I couldn't tell my engineer what I need, and the car was struggling in the race. But out of here in the top 5, I figured this race would be pretty tough for me. Seems like I couldn't figure out the racetrack, what I need since day 1, so I did my best, and top 5, it's good.
Sam Hornish's Chevy ran awfully good until this incident on the pit road, but he bounced back to a great finish.
You know, obviously not what we wanted to do. We wanted to win the race, but we had a great time out there. Had the car doing what it needed to do to be fast, and you know, we had a little bit of an incident pit road, and you know, that really, you know, kind of put a dampener on the night. But I mean, I'm just maybe a little braver, a little stupider than some of the other guys, but I like the high line. It's where, you know, I'm able to pass. A lot of guys are not brave enough to go there, or their car's not working. So anytime I get the advantage to, because it really helps you on these short tracks like this, that's almost the way you have to get it done.
Well, the rain may have spoiled the last 50 laps here in Richmond, but it certainly didn't spoil Scott Dixon's day. That's 2 in a row, 3 for the season. He goes to Kansas chasing the three-peat.
Yes, but despite the 3 wins, Dixon is second in points in 3 wins and 7 starts, but he also has 3 DNFs. And one of those was when he and point leader Kanaan crashed together in Japan. The difference here is that Kanaan, in the other 6 races, has 6 top 5 finishes.
The wily veteran, the hungry young lion. What are these teammates learning from each other? Say buenos dias to the odd couple of the Champ Car World Series coming up on Speed News.
And find out who's man enough to stop J.J. Yaley as USAC Silver Crown Series brings its swagger and stagger to Richmond.
Speed News is brought to you by Circuit City. We know the excitement you feel about the latest digital toys. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you.
A dozen kart Champ Car drivers and their teams held an open test in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin Thursday, prepping for the Mario Andretti Grand Prix of Road America August 3rd. Newman Haas drivers Bruno Junqueira and Sebastian Bourdais posted the top 2 laps. That test was open to the public, as is another at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course on Monday. Now, every driver in the Champ Car pit lane has seen his share of ups and downs this season, and that's especially true of the 2 at Erdez Competition, a team that began life as Bettenhausen Motorsports back in 1986 and is now fielding 2 cars for 2002 Rookie of the Year Mario Dominguez and veteran Roberto Moreno.
Well, Mario had a pretty tough rookie season last year. It was hard on us. We didn't have the resources last year we have this year, but we definitely saw he had the skill. There's no doubt about it, and we see it now. Roberto, when we built 2 cars, we needed somebody there with a little bit of maturity, a little bit of experience that could help me and help the guys and just keep us honest. And somebody that Mario could respect and bounce ideas off.
While Roberto Moreno brings years of racing experience, the transition to new equipment has been one hurdle the team has had to work extra hard to overcome.
This year, learning the Lola has been a big issue for me. Myself, my new engineer, we're all learning about the new Lola.
Sometimes it's funny because a lot of people think that I've been fast because I use his setups, but I think it's been the other way around in most of the races where he's been using my setups.
If I was racing Reynolds, I could have all data, but that's all thrown out of the window. So my experience of the 2 years in the Reynolds car doesn't count.
There's always something that he tries that is good for him, that I try that is normally good, and then we just work very hard together to get the car faster.
While results have been hard for the team to come by thus far this season, both drivers know there's still lots of time left.
I would even dare to say that we have potential to challenge for the championship.
I think we're going to fight for the championship. I think the team has the potential to do so. We're working very hard towards it.
We've been fast all year, so I don't see why we shouldn't keep on that pace.
We're here to fight for a championship, and we're very serious about it.
While the team has proven they can challenge for victory, they're careful not to take too much for granted.
It's not 2 one-car teams, it's 1 2-car team. We have a lot of potential. We just can't overreach right now. We just have to go to every event, concentrate, and keep our heads level, and make sure we get everything right, and then everything else will fall into place.
Of course, there's going to be races that the car's not going to be that great. We won't be able to, you know, to probably challenge for the podium or for the win. But if at those races we just keep our heads and get some points, you know, there's others like Germany or England where the car's going to be very good, and we'll be able to be up front.
This weekend, the Champ Cars head to Cleveland, where Moreno won from pole in 2000 for his first win after years of playing Super Sub. Moreno finished 3rd in points for Patrick Racing just 2 years ago. Dominguez was Rookie of the Year in 2002, winning at stormy Surfers Paradise in Australia.
Next up, Silver Crown action at Richmond. J.J. Yaley has cut a wide swath through this year's USAC season, but at Richmond International Raceway yesterday, he hit a snag. The pole sitter Dave Steele fell back early as Jason McCord grabbed the lead, took off, had a great race for the first 4 laps, and then tried to knock the wall down. And guess who found himself up front again? Why, the defending series champ J.J. Yaley, but not for long. The guy who had the hottest hand in USAC before JJ caught fire, Dave Steele, showed he can still generate some heat. He ends Yaley's Silver Crown streak at 3 straight, scores his 2nd win of the year. JJ faded all the way to 6th. World of Outlaws question of the week. Who do you suppose got the Incredible Hulk advertising money in that series? That would be number 11, of course. Steve Kinser passing Jason Myers for the Friday night lead out in Eagle, Nebraska. And then Hulker on home for his 4th Friday night prelim win of the year. Joey Saldana barely nipped Mark Kinser for 3rd. And with that, we head for the Saturday night feature, in which Myers proved he's not afraid to hit Hulk in the backside, but only for as long as he could, which wasn't very long. Kinser gradually closing on 500 career Outlaw feature wins. Planned to run the movie paint job for 1 week only, but after running away with an amazing 9th Eagle Nationals win, he's thinking, you know what, maybe we're going to leave this on there just a little bit longer. Nice work.
Sports car racing is coming round the bend, featuring the Rolex Series at Mid-Ohio and the ALMS at Road Atlanta.
But next, overcoming huge obstacles to score an upset win in the ASA. Number 20, Aaron Yates versus Matt Mladen in a Suzuki teammate battle for the AMA Superbike lead. Brainerd, Minnesota today. Watch the tire chunks start flying from Mladen's rear wheel. Things started to come apart as he was pulling away from Yates. Then a teammate battle for 2nd. Number 17, Miguel Duhamel edges Curtis Roberts despite Miguel's broken collarbone. Yates was being very careful with his tire the last couple of laps, claimed his 2nd win of the year. Eric Bostrom finished 4th and takes the point lead as Mladen came back to run 7th. The Pro Honda Oil 600 Super Sport race from Road America is actually on the air immediately after this newscast, and we hope you'll watch, and we're not going to tell you who won.
Saturday night's ASA race at Indianapolis Raceway Park got off to a brutal start for hometown racer Peter Cozzolino, who crashed in practice Friday. The crew hauled the wreck to its shop and made repairs, arriving back at IRP too late to qualify. They got in on points, and then they got after it. Cozzolino started 36th behind pole sitter Robbie Powell and started looking for a way forward. It came on lap 45 when Joey Miller wrecked. Cozzolino pitted the 44 and rode an off-sequence pit strategy to gain track position. Late in the going, Bill Clemens crashed. Zach Neisner got into him. Out came the yellow, and Cozzolino was ready to pounce. He passed Rick Beebe, going back to front to win his first ever ASA victory. In fact, his first top 5 since 1998 when he finished 2nd in the Rookie of the Year chase to Jimmy Johnson. Elsewhere, Jason Sarvis won his first Hooters Pro Cup race of the season at Kenly, North Carolina Sunday afternoon. The race was postponed by rain from Saturday night. Sarvis becomes the 6th different winner in 8 races thus far in the USAR Southern Division.
American Le Mans Series action at Road Atlanta. Watch the big swoop around the outside into turn 1. That's J.J. Lato on the move early. You don't make that move at Road Atlanta. Well, this guy made it twice in 5 laps, and Lato leads the race and never looks back. Danica Patrick debut in a Ferrari, not bad. Wound up 10th overall, 4th in class. Problems, though, for Johnny O'Connell. Check out the left rear on the number 3 Corvette. That ended their hope of victory. The 675 prototype class leader, that would be Butch Leitzinger. Car would not start after a pit stop. He lost the class lead, came back to finish 2nd. Quick pit work for the number 24 Alex Joe Port to help them steal the G2 class win from the sister car, which led all day. At the line, well, it's Lato's teammate Johnny Herbert bringing the champion Audi home. First ever victory for the team in ALMS. They beat the Yost outfit, a long-awaited accomplishment. John Field was coming fast at the end for 3rd overall at first in 675, and O'Connell's Corvette teammates did the business in the GTS class.
The Speed World Challenge also raced in the Red Clay Hills. You're on board with Matt Plum in the Touring Car Race Sunday as Will Turner up ahead and Plum both have to take evasive action, dodge the spinning Matt Richmond. From behind, looking down to turn 10, Leo Capaldi punts Jim Osborne into the kitty litter. Parts go everywhere. The race was dominated from pole by Bill Auberlin, who went flag to flag for his 2nd win of the season and the points lead over Jeff Altenberg. Shauna Marinan winners for her first podium ever. Saturday's GT class race, Randy Popes was leading handily in his Audi when Mike Fitzgerald pulled his Porsche from out of the draft and edged around Popes to take over the lead. It's a developing situation. Fitzgerald led the rest of the way for his first win of the season, beating Hans Stuck, his 2nd podium of the year, with Popes in 3rd. Randy is your points leader.
And at Mid-Ohio, meanwhile, no repeat of last week's spectacular Rolex Grand Am finish at Watkins Glen. This time, Stu Hayner's GTS Class Mustang showed its hooves to the Daytona prototypes for a good share of the day. Last week's winners had trouble. David Donahue filling the nose full of grass and forcing a pit stop, and later a flat tire after contact with another car. They still managed to finish second, in large part because the Mustang failed to finish at all. Net result, Forrest Barber and Terry Borcheller, he's the one that's going to be doing all the yelling here in just a moment, score their second win of the year in the Chevy Doran. Now looking ahead, Friday would be the 4th of July and the start of a great motorsports weekend.
Check out a firecracker of a lineup on our Advance Auto Parts racing calendar.
Speed News is brought to you by Circuit City. We know the excitement you feel about the latest digital toys. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you. And by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinking Bush Light, the proud sponsor of the NASCAR Bush Series.
Here's a look at the class pole sitters at this weekend's NHRA Sears Craftsman Nationals in St. Louis. Eliminations are going on as we speak, so be sure to check speedtv.com for the final results. The big story in qualifying was the first Top Fuel low qualifier for Kenny Bernstein since stepping back into the car earlier this summer in relief of his injured son Brandon. King Kenny's big blast left lane came in the final round of qualifying as the Bud King legged out a pass at 4.59 seconds, 323 miles per hour. Another milestone was reached in qualifying when the Professor, Warren Johnson, took the Pro Stock pole for the 130th time in his career, extending a series record, 6.80 and 2:02, the numbers for Wojo.
And here's a speed reading test for you. The IHRA final round matchups way out in Western Canada tonight, and the reason that you have to read those really, really fast is because the television program is now over.
That's all the news that fits for this final weekend in June. This is Speed News Sunday. I'm Bob Varsha.
I'm Dave Despain. We'll see you next week.
Speed News is presented by Circuit City. For motorsports coverage when you want it, log on to speedtv.com.